Thanks for watching the Friday show. I'm Rita Panahi and I've got Michael Kroger and Corrine Barraclough with me. Let's talk about Tanya Plibersek identifying as a Conservative. Of course, I'm jesting a little bit, but she has come out and said that she'd like children to do a Pledge of Allegiance to the country. She has spoken positively about the notion of patriotism and why it can actually be a force for good and togetherness. And of course, this has absolutely enraged the left, Corrine. But Tanya makes the point that Conservatives don't own the concept of patriotism, that you can be from the left and still be proud of your country and proud to be an Australian and see that as a leftist principle. Do you think that still is true in 2020 though?
It should be, but I think we can see by the reaction to her statement that it's not. I was absolutely amazed when I was reading her kind of unfolding tweets on this, thinking, what's happened? The world has fallen in, because I agree with Tanya Plibersek. We couldn't be more opposite ends of the spectrum, but look at nobody should have a problem with what she's proposing. There is nothing wrong with being loyal to your country. Australia is a fantastic country. But as we can see from the response to her words and then her speech, people of the left, far left, and the activist green wing, the people who are busy gluing themselves to streets, they hate Australia. And so even to say the words, I love Australia, I love this country, you're very much in the bad books. And I think it really, really shows that the Labour Party is really floundering. They've got to make up some ground. But let's not kid ourselves. If they'd won the election, she would not be saying this. She's trying to find something to start steering the ship slightly back to the centre. But they've got their work cut out for them. Just look at the reaction. It's been crazed.
Well, the reaction has been absolutely over the top, Michael. I could not believe some of the absolute vitriol she was receiving, particularly on Twitter, for this proposal and for talking positively about patriotism. Do you think it's genuine? This is what she really thinks, or is this an appeal to that centre-left demographic that Labor has lost by becoming so aligned with the Greens and identity politics?
Yeah, it's a great question, and it's a great and a very deep topic, this one. I think what Plibersek has done is done a lot of thinking about Labor's election defeat, and she's thinking about the people that should be voting for the ALP that didn't. And amongst a lot of those people, Rita, are decent blue-collar, middle-class, lower middle class, working families whose parents may have been in the war or served our nation, who are in the RSL, who love the flag, who don't want to change the national anthem, who don't want to trash the monarchy, who like the society we've built. And I think Plibersek is sort of going back to say, well, look, there's got to be a bridge between us and the old class, not the inner city, vegan left public servants who ride to school that don't worry about the cost of energy or don't have to worry about the cost of schooling, or et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. She's trying to make herself more mainstream, which is what modern Labor needs to do, because they were out of touch at the last election. I suppose the other point is, I was saying before about the attack on Bettina Arndt. No one is safe from these sort of neo-fascists on the left, not even Tanya Plibersek. So here's a lefty, someone's made a whole career of being on the left, what did Plibersek say? She basically said, I actually think people should be proud of Australia. And Corrine, as you said, you have the neo-fascist left in this country. All they want to do is preach hatred and bile towards the successes of our country, whether it be the sporting clubs, the churches, our military engagements, our democracy, our free press. I mean, all their enemies are lined up, and the left just trash and abuse them all. My objection is this: why do we have to keep talking about these nobodies on Twitter? I mean, you got this Clementine Ford. Who is Clementine Ford? Who is she?
Well, she used to write for The Age before even they sort of...
they thought she was chair left wing. Well, that's saying something. But the people attacking Tanya Plibersek, well, when they've become the deputy leader of the Federal Labor Party and been a minister in the Labor government and been a member of the Federal Parliament for many years, like Plibersek has been, well, let's listen to them. But whilst they're a bunch of internet and trolls from Twitter, why are we giving them any credit at all? The people that are attacking Bettina Arndt, You wouldn't, you know, why even talk about these people? They're nobodies. Their opinions, quite frankly, don't matter.
Well,
express them, but they don't matter.
what you just said now about Tanya recognising where Labor have gone wrong at the last election, and probably a trend that's stretched through several elections. Is she doing that just for the good of the party, or has she got some ambitions on becoming leader? Because obviously she was deputy leader. People looked to her to contest the leadership. She wasn't interested. She stepped down. But is there still some leadership ambitions there from where you sit?
I work on the assumption that every member of the federal parliament in the reps and most of them in the Senate want to be leader and think they should be leader and finally think they'll do a much better job than the person that's there now. So does that apply to Plibersek? Of course it does. Do I think she wants to be leader? She could have run for the leadership after the election and didn't.
Would she have won?
Well, who would know? You can presume, of course, that because she and Albo are both from the left, that, you know, it's 50-50 as which one would have won. You know, she may have beaten him, but you get the message that at the time that the main leaders of the left preferred Albo. They felt he was a stronger candidate than her. But why wouldn't she still have ambition? I mean, certainly Bill Shorten's still got ambition. Why wouldn't she still? Yeah. Why wouldn't she have some ambition? But it'll have to be on hold at the minute because Albo, you know, so far is there like a night watchman, batting away every potential issue or crisis. He's running dead on everything. But is he playing middle ground?
Is he being tested? The polls, I think the last news poll had him slightly in front. That came as a shock to everybody, but obviously that was after Scott Morrison got unprecedented bad press over the handling of the bushfires. Is he capable of becoming Prime Minister, Albo? Given his own politics is further left than Labor were at the last election, and if they have to regain that middle ground, how are they going to do it with a leader like Anthony Albanese?
So this is why he's pivoting to the middle. This is why he's coming to the middle. So
it's not genuine.
Well, no, of course it's not genuine. No, it's a complete fraud. But he's got rid of the franking credits policy. He'll wind back the capital gains policy. And there's several other things he'll do.
Will he get rid of negative gearing? That's the big one.
He won't get rid of it, but I think he'll tone it down. He might say you can have one house you can have 10 houses or 5 houses. Then it cuts in. Okay. That's what he might do. Okay, so you keep the bones of the policy by saying yes, we still believe in it, but you make it out of the reach so most people are not affected by it.
Yeah.
So you have a win-win. But look, remember this about Australian politics. Here are the truisms. Governments lose elections, oppositions don't win them. All the electorate does, they have a quick glance at the opposition. If they're not Bernie Sanders or Jeremy Corbyn, they might vote for them. So that's what the electorate does. So, and look, we're going for our fourth victory. 13, 16, 19. Then of course, in 2010, Tony Abbott had half a win.
Yeah.
So it's 4, almost 5 terms. Now, not many governments go beyond that. So he's now decided, I'm going to play to the middle ground, I'm going to escape controversy, I'm going to pivot back to say things about our blue-collar base to bring them home and try and win some of the marginal seats. And I'm not going to scare the horses on tax. I'm not going to scare the elderly on tax. I'm not going to scare aspirational Australians who've got a second, third house on tax. That's what he's doing at the minute. Small target strategy.
I don't think he's not coming across as a strong leader, though. I don't think at all. He just keeps saying, "I don't want to politicise this issue," but ... That's been his standard line over the last 2 months. I don't think.
But that's all he needs to do, Corrine.
Is it though? Is anyone falling for that?
Well, they vote. As I said, they vote against governments. They're not voting for him. They're voting against the government.
And I think until he's actually asked to show an alternative, that's what we can do. You can just be Mr. Negative and win the day.